We had a full first 11 turn up for this gravel ride, including a couple of debutantes. It was another rather chilly and cloudy start to the day as we left the Aberfoyle car park. Our route for the day was out of Aberfoyle to the west before heading north to Loch Chon and then working our way back to Aberfoyle by climbing above Loch.
Honey, you need love. Oh, I'm gonna give you my love. Every inch of my love.
This is a fairly lumpy route. You essentially head west and climb for the first 9 miles or so, gaining 1,000 feet in the process. At this point you'll be at the top of the main climb for the day and also at the most westerly point on the route.
I said, hey, Chon. I said, where you going with that gun in your hand?
If you're enjoying this video, please consider giving it a like, and why not subscribe to the channel.
Let me tell you. Oh, I'm going down to show my leg.
If you fancy trying out any of our routes, you can download the GPX files by following me on Strava at Douglas Gilligan RACC or on Commute at Specialised Doug. On the 6th of September this year I'll be taking part in Chris Hoy's Tour de Four charity cycle. Both my father and grandfather died having been diagnosed with prostate cancer, so I'm raising money for the Prostate Cancer Scotland charity, and I've set myself a challenging target of £500. If you are able to help with a few pounds towards me achieving this, it would be most appreciated. My total is sitting over £100 at the moment, and thanks to everyone who has donated so far. If able, you can donate via the QR code, and I've also included a link in the video description panel. Thanks in advance.
Hey, Joe. I said, where you gonna run to now?
Aberfoyle or Gravelfoyle is a fantastic place to go gravel riding. The area has over 120 miles of gravel trails to explore and enjoy, which is mostly in excellent condition. This is also a very pretty place to cycle, as a lot of the trails skirt the various lochs and rivers in the area and wind their way through forested areas, so it feels very tranquil. It's also very uncommon to meet any vehicles while you're on your wander through, although it is important to remember that it is possible that you may encounter the odd works vehicle. The forest opens out here and you get a lovely panoramic view from a slightly elevated position. It's a nice spot to get a picture and enjoy the view. It's also an opportune moment to catch your breath, take a gel, remove a buff and prepare yourself for the main climb of the day, as your temperature is about to increase quite significantly. The climb itself is listed in Strava as the Bruach burn climb. Its stats read that it's 2 miles long and gains 500 feet over that distance. Although the average gradient is shown as a moderate 4%, there are some really steep sections where it zigzags, and on these bends it's hitting a challenging 16%. The gravel on this section is also quite chunky, which compounds the technicality. I usually advise everyone to give each other a wee bit of space here, especially on the zigzags. As we slowly made progress in the granny gear and occasionally with our weight over the handlebars, both the visibility and the temperature dropped as we made our way towards the top of the climb and into the clouds. If you look across to your right as you near the top, you'll see the descent back down which follows the tree line. From the drone's perspective you can see the climb on the left and the descent on the right, with the waterfall in the middle, although you can see more exposed rock than water. In wetter weather this waterfall can look pretty dramatic, but there was little to see on the day as it had been drier than usual in the run up to this ride. It's a fast descent and again the surface is a little bit on the chunky side. As we made our way over towards Loch, I heard a bit of a shout behind me, but when I asked, no one mentioned anything. Chris had actually suffered a mechanical, but it was only after this enjoyable descent that I learned about it. I doubled back, and rather than climbing back up the hill I tried to phone him, but there was no signal. Thankfully he managed to get it fixed with a little help and reappeared around 10 minutes later. It's been 6 months or so since I've done this route, and a lot of the views look very different, especially where there were big stockpiles of logs at the side of the trail. Although the main climb of the day is behind you at this point, there are still another 5 climbs totalling around 2,000 feet to be negotiated. You tick off another one here on the way over to Loch Chon, and then get to enjoy a nice fast descent down to the Loch side. You can see just how dusty the trails were here due to the relatively dry spell that we've had. This descent is actually one that we'll be climbing on our way back towards and above Loch. This is a really nice, slightly elevated viewing point above Loch Chon, which affords some lovely views and makes for a nice Strava photo. As I got the drone up, we were joined by a couple of young ladies who were cycling round the loch, and I got some footage of them as they continued south in search of a picnic bench. As the lads prepared to set off again, Stevie noticed that he had a tyre pressure issue which proved to be a little problematic to repair. Thankfully the sun had decided to join us, which made our 30 minutes or so forced delay a lot less uncomfortable to endure. Given the slightly remote nature of this ride, the only real opportunity to have a lunch stop would be to turn left when you come to the road at the end of Loch Chon and head over to the Pier Cafe at Loch, which is a lovely spot at the end of Loch. We had chosen not to have a lunch stop and to just complete the route before potentially grabbing a bite to eat back in Aberfoyle. We've resurfaced this road. Lovely. Used to be a bit of a mess. Just a section from the end of Loch Chon to the other end of Loch Chon. That 3-mile section for quite a bit has been resurfaced. It's lovely and smooth. Fantastic. This ride does include about a 3-mile road section which takes you down the east bank of Loch Chon. The road has been resurfaced since the last time I was here, and it really is a beautifully smooth ribbon of tarmac. After the relatively flattish road section, it's time to get your climbing legs back on as you rejoin the gravel on the track that you've previously descended en route to Loch Chon. Thankfully you're only partially retracing your tracks as you turn left off this climb after about half a mile and 250 feet or so of climbing. This section was exceptionally dry and dusty, and it was pretty rutted. I can only surmise that this has been caused by worse traffic while the trails were considerably wetter. I occasionally suffer from a bit of PTSD here, as I had a fall a couple of years ago on the ice in this section which Stevie kindly reminded me of. Thanks Stevie. This resulted in me ripping the arse out of a brand new pair of thermal cycling leggings and giving me some nasty gravel rash, so I was hoping not to repeat this on the ruts. You get some nice views over Loch here, and I quite often put the drone up, but we cracked on and just rolled straight over the crest. Having passed Loch and Agyenin, there are a few options to get back to Aberfoyle, but we chose to cut in through the Milton Forest car park and then skirted the banks of Loch and Spline. I think this is the prettiest option to link you back onto Ducry roads and back into Aberfoyle. With the sun being out as we arrived back, we headed to a local hostelry for a bite to eat and a well-earned beer. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And right by the numbers are that we covered 29 miles with 2,900 feet of climbing.